Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 512, January 19th, 2022. And hello everybody, I am Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks for clicking on Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. Appreciate you coming out. We've got a fun show. We're going to be talking about Hamcation and Winter Field Day, which two things I'll be participating in. Let's go around the room. Got a little less people today. We got a lot going on. Yeah. There's a lot of people out. We've got Ham Nation hosts all over the country, it sounds like, right now doing things. So we'll start with Joe up top. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing all right, trying to stay warm. It's just 9 degrees outside, going down to 5 below tonight, and that's not the wind chill here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And looking forward to telling everybody about things that really suck.
Well, it's a balmy 61 degrees here. That's why I had to put the little sweater on so I could keep my core temp up. I'm at risk of losing, my going into hypothermia. So
and just
stay
so people
warm,
know
Joe.
that things that suck is really desoldering tools.
Yes. Amanda, how are you doing this week?
Oh, man, Joe, you make it too easy. First, you bring strippers to this show and things that suck. I can't. Okay, I digress. So, good evening. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to interviewing Ken and 8KC tonight. Thanks for being here. And we're going to talk also about Quartz Fest. If you are not already on your way, you're going to miss some of it. But Gordo wanted me to share a few things of information. Please be sure, if you're not going to Quartz Fest, to work their special event station, Whiskey 7 Quebec. You can find them all over. They're going to be operating on digital, CW, and phone as well. So be sure to look for spots and find them throughout the next week. And he wants everyone to know that everyone is welcome, and they have so much more than ham radio there. So, but there's a sidekick to this. It's all boondocking. So if you're coming in a tent, or you're going to stay in your, I guess I'm not saying it right, or if you're going to stay in the back of your Subaru, fine. Just come fully prepared that there's not even porta potties for you. So I think the campsite itself was going to bring in some porta potties, but bring your own dishes, your own food. They have a lot of potlucks and things like that, and it is seriously a huge group effort to have fun and have some great seminars. And to name some of those seminars, I'd be thinking about, I don't think they actually do underwater basket weaving, but they come close. I mean, they really just go crazy with all of the things that they go over. And the
looks
coordinators.
Like they have a PDF. I'm opening the PDF.
Oh, the PDF.
Look at that. Oh, that's actually a couple of events they've got going on. Distance Challenge, Special Event Station, RV and Rock Show in town. I believe that is the actual rocks, not rock and roll. Off-road adventure, ham radio license testing, land ops, mini ops adventure, ARRL forum, and license testing. So they got a lot going on. And again, it's not just ham radio. Quartz Fest is a big group. It's an RV group, an outdoors type group. It's a lot of fun. But be prepared to self-prepare. Self-preserve. You're on your own. You got to bring your own stuff to take care of yourself.
That's what we were saying earlier before we went live, everybody. But I also say, learn how to barter. Yes. Bring some booze or something in trade for that shower. Also, one other thing, Gordo wanted us to know that there is lots of great fires in the evening, lots of warmth, and maybe a burning ham man and gal. So you won't be disappointed. And Gordo will bring it all to us 2 weeks from now and tell us how much trouble he got into. All right. So with that, Josh, you want to take it away with Ken?
Let's do it.
All right. NAKC, Ken, thanks for being here. Ken's one of the wonderful committee members for the Winter Field Day, and I don't know how many of our audience actually participates in it. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but Ken is here to tell us all why we should be getting active in Winter Field Day and what's so great about it. So, Ken, take it away. You want to start with the history of it and what you guys do now? Go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Amanda.
Yep.
Winter Field Day first started about 2007. there was a group called SPAR, which stood for the Society to Preserve Amateur Radio. And they were a rather elderly group at the time, but they ran it for a few years. And then around 2015, several of them fell ill and couldn't score Winter Field Day. Winter Field Day at that time was kind of a smallish affair. It wasn't real big, but my club got into it, and we were into another contest called Freeze Your Butt Off that we did before we got into Winter Field Day, but it was more of a social thing for the club to have an excuse to get together in the wintertime. Well, when the original SPAR didn't get around to scoring the contest in 2015, a few guys got together who later became Winter Field Day Association, and they were Bill Nangle, Dave Tabbitt, Eric McCord, and Tom Phelps. I won't go through the call signs, but those fellas were the ones who talked to the original guys from SPAR, and they were able to take over the contest from SPAR and score the 2015 contest, and then kind of took the football and ran from there. And a few others have since joined. We have a fellow named, myself, Jerry Radcliffe, who does scoring for us and software, and a couple other fellas, Mike and Ray Stevens. They help out with software and some other things when we get down to actually having to score the contest. But like I said, it's been around since about 2007. Winter Field Day Association's been running it since 2015. The first couple of years that we took it over, it was probably in the neighborhood of 400 or 500 logs would get turned in. Now we're more in the neighborhood of 2,000 logs and up. And I know there's more people than that actually involved in being on the air.
Oh, yeah.
And it is an international event.
I was going to bring up the scoring. How long does it take you guys to crunch all of those numbers and let the results out there?
Well, we judge ourselves by the ARRL. ARRL doesn't accept logs. They just take a summary sheet for field day. That actually is pretty easy. All they do is take your word for whatever you sent in. And we actually collect logs and score them. And it takes ARRL from end of June until about November to actually score it. And we usually have it scored within about 3 months, 4 months tops. All the scores will be in. Now with the COVID thing, we have a little different set of rules for clubs that don't get together. So it's very similar to what Field Day does. In fact, it's almost identical. And that means we have to wait till every single log comes in so that we can total up those for club scores.
Okay. And Josh is going to bring up the website for us. I think it's a fairly easy website there. And he's going to show us some of the things. Give us the date, Ken. Give us date and time.
I don't have that written down here.
January 29th.
It's the last full weekend of every January. That's the easiest way to remember it.
And that's my favorite part about your website is this map, this globe you've got is so cool.
It is cool.
It's so cool.
And see, now there's a bunch of visitors from our chat going there to check it out right now as we talk. And let's see. So is it the same time frame, noon to noon, or wherever you're at, 1 to 1? Is it a 24-hour event?
And like I said, I don't have that paperwork right in front of me, but yeah, it's like
I got
noon.
you covered, Ken. 24 hours. It starts at 1900 UTC, 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, and runs 1900 UTC, 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday.
Okay.
And the rules are linked in the chat, so everybody can tag along with us. It's a great little PDF. By the way, I always print out the rules and keep them with me when I'm activating.
You should.
There
You
is
definitely
a Facebook page where all of this is available in the files section as well.
Okay.
In fact, we had last year. I've been kind of remiss in doing that this year. Last year, I put out several Winter Field Day newsletters. We call them the Frozen Feed Line. But this year I haven't got one out yet because I've been busy. I have a mother who's got COVID, and I got a brother I got to take care of, and a few other things going on. So
tell us this, Ken. How is it different? There's a different, like, home operation is encouraged, just so you participate, but outdoors is where it gets you the points and portable and things like that, correct?
Well, we basically encourage people to get some practice in or get used to being able to set up your station much like you would say you lost all the power in your neighborhood, and be able to set your station up and get on the air. Maybe it took your antennas down, so you'd have to put up a station, power it, get some wire in the air, and then get some fire to the wire and make contacts. Very much the same as summer field day. That's the kind of the whole gist of the winter field day contest.
Okay. And so there's some enthusiasts. Josh is one. Josh, what are you doing for winter field day?
Well, I'm going to come back to me for a second. I will admit that I am a Southern California native. So last year I was on the beach in San Diego activating. I had a really hard time between the beer got a little too cold when I was, when I was getting towards the end of the evening when I was about to wrap things up. We did live stream from there.
I feel so sorry for you.
I know. It's hard.
Terrible.
It's hard out here. It really is. But this year, I believe I was invited to go to a club has a setup. I believe they're affiliated with one of the local military bases. And so I'm going to go check out their setup likely, and we'll see what kind of activating I can get myself involved in. But I'm looking forward to it, as I am always. I love the emergency preparedness aspect and the just ham radio preparedness aspect of winter field day.
And I just have to ask, Josh, which beach in San Diego?
Oh, you got me on that. Just outside Pendleton. Oceanside? South of Oceanside.
Okay, Oceanside. I lived in Pacific Beach for a bit, so
I can look it up. I know I have a video.
It's near and dear to me.
I'll be right back.
And Josh is probably going to stream from there while he's out at that military base. So
I might.
Let's see. All right, Ken. So this just makes like innovative kind of setups, I think. So what are some of your crazy setups that you've seen? And people participate from all around the world, don't they?
Yes, we have several from Finland and some other European countries that work the contest, and they're QRP. But we have several Canadians who vie for, they either head out into the wilderness on a snowmobile or with a dog team and set up in tents with a log burning stove to stay warm. I mean, I've seen one where the guy had to clear 3 feet of snow out just to put his tent up. But we have people from all over that try some really wild stuff. Even out west, people go up on top of mountains. They'll do combine it with a soda, and some of them combine it with parks on the air. We had a fellow doing winter field day last year from way up in Michigan's UP. I can't remember the name of the trail. It's one of the national trails. I think it's called the Ice Age Trail or something, but it runs along Lake Superior. And our club for years has taken over a local summer youth camp, and we set up there. Everybody drives 90 miles to go be at this place and all hang out together and chow down together and party and have fun making radio contacts. So it's a lot like summer field day. If you've been around summer field day, you know how clubs turn it into a social thing.
Somebody in chat said scotch and soda. Yes, a lot like that. So you have a big group that gets together. There's one other difference I wanted to talk about so people would understand. If you've never participated in the winter field day, the categories and classes are a little bit different. There's not the 2 Alpha or 2 Bravo kind of thing. Is that correct, Ken?
There's quite a few differences. I really recommend reading the rules.
Yes.
I get a lot of emails questioning, questioning things in the rules, and it's pretty obvious that the person hasn't spent a lot of time reading the rules. But we have home, indoor, and outdoor as categories, and they're pretty much what they sound like. If you're outdoors, you're basically either in an uninsulated vehicle or an uninsulated boat. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're way up north or way down south. They kind of mean the same thing, but that's all covered in the rules under the different definitions of stuff of what's indoor, what's outdoor, and what's a home station. A home station is basically, if you're a home station, it basically means you turned around like my station here and just decided to operate from the house with an antenna that was already up and everything else. That's a home station. An indoor station, you could be, maybe you decided to rent a condo somewhere and you go there and set everything up. Well, that'd be an indoor station, but not a home station because there wasn't anything there before you got there. And an outdoor station is pretty much what it sounds like. Although we allow, we don't want people to go outside and freeze. That was part of Freeze Your Butt Off contest, was you went outside and operated in the ambient temperature. And we don't require that. You can be outside in a tent and have a heater in it with you. You're still outside. But it's all
camper is that questionable? Are you outside if you're in a camper? Or
if you're in a fully insulated camper with a built-in heater or built-in air conditioning, you are inside.
Okay, there's your answer right there.
If you're in a pop-up camper, which is, in other words, a fully insulated windows, doors, all that kind of stuff, that's inside. But if you're in a pop-up where it's canvas, well, there's no insulation in the walls. If you're in an outbuilding outside on a farm, there's no insulation in the walls. If you're in a cabin somewhere where there's no insulation, you're outside.
Okay. Keep it honest, everybody out there. Don't take your fifth wheeler out there or fifth wheel and claim you had to hardcore it. All right. So there's some people are asking us to really go over these rules, and I think that would be a lot because if you've ever looked at the field day packet for ARRL, it's about 26 pages. So can you talk about the multipliers? Just sum it up quickly. Outdoor, it's ×2, that kind of thing.
Outdoors is a bonus. We have bonuses.
Okay.
Outdoors in and of itself is a bonus. CW is a multiplier of 2. Digital is a multiplier of 2. Sideband or any phone contact is only a single multiplier. There are other multipliers. They're in the rules, like I said, but one of the multipliers is modes. If you work 40 meters and you work at sideband, well, that's only one multiplier. If you work at sideband and CW, that's another multiplier. So the more bands and the more modes you cover equal more multipliers. It's all spelled out in the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing I just wanted to cover, speaking of digital,
and that's a lot different than ARRL field day.
Yes, it is. It's totally different. The other thing I wanted to cover was the FT8 modes. So they had to write a certain special thing for running FT8 for winter field day. Is that correct? So everyone needs to make sure they get that.
If you read the winter field day thing about FT8, it's not that we don't allow FT8, it's that FT8 will not pass the exchange. Okay. If you're one home or one outdoors or something like that, it will not do the H and it will not do the O.
I think that was a good kind of way of understanding it was you call it out here. You have an example of the exchange. And that's the best way for people to understand is go look at the rules, because the point and the note from the rules says any mode is allowed as long as it faithfully transmits the intact exchange without some kind of conversion table or coded system. And so once I understood that, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, because summer field day, FT8, the guys who came up with that FT8 stuff, they made changes to FT8 so that it would do summer field day with 1 alpha, 1 bravo. It does A, B, C, and D. It doesn't do I, H, or O.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions that we'll get to.
You have my name wrong. My name's Kenneth.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, no. We usually check
Ken.
that beforehand. Oh, Ken, I'm so sorry. I believe I can fix that before we wrap up. You guys keep going.
That was because I had a computer meltdown, and I had to restart my computer, and he didn't get to roll through that with me. So we'll just, I don't know, we'll put a CW key in between the on the V and the I. Sorry, Ken.
I apologize for that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we got a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Josh.
So the first one, and I think we kind of already hit on it a little bit. You covered the camper. That was asked. Somebody asked me to read over the PDF as far as what modes are allowed in multipliers. I think you covered that. Brett Glass asks, FT8 is really too limited that way. How about JS8 call? Are you familiar with JS8 call, Kevin? Or Ken, sorry, I did it again. Apologize.
Ken, it is allowed. Yes, in fact, it's recommended in the rules.
And I corrected the name. I apologize. Did that live while asking a question. I apologize again. So yeah, JS8's good. It works off of the same, I guess you could say, kind of algorithm as FT8, but it works just fine with JS8.
But it'll pass a lot more information. What it really boils down to is if everything goes down and you have to make a contact to somewhere to tell them that I need medical supplies, let me know when you can get that message through on FT8.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we don't like FT8. It's just that it won't pass emergency traffic. Almost any other mode will.
That's right.
And even bands such as 70 centimeters and 2 meters are good to go. Not a repeater, obviously, but working simplex.
No repeaters, no web interface. But yes, DMR, fusion radio. I think you and I talked about that the other night.
Yes, we did.
It's long past time for some of the digital modes to come up with a way where when everything goes down and the local repeater doesn't work anymore, how do you still talk with your DMR radio to another guy on DMR? You should have a simplex frequency, much like AWL proposed many, many, many years ago, 14652. Doesn't have to be that frequency. It can be somewhere nearby, but just something that everybody knows as a fallback.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. And we our Aries groups here use DMR for a lot of their go-tos, and they should definitely have a simplex chosen frequency and maybe an all-around a universal, such as our normal 2 meter.
Yeah, because I mean when they had the hurricane down in New Orleans and stuff, the Mississippi was hit far worse right along the coastline. Everything was out. Well, it's not some guy in an HT that's going down there talking on a repeater, whether it's digital or not. It's some guy going down there with a 50 or 70 watt VHF mobile, and he can reach out miles and miles and miles to people who can relay that information.
Yes, same as in Puerto Rico as well. So, well, Ken, is there anything else you want us to know about Winter Field Day?
Get out and have fun. That's what it's all about.
I like that. Joe, do you participate in Winter Field Day?
Me?
No, Joe.
Oh. I have before. I've done it along with K0 USA at the Exarban Amateur Radio Club in Omaha. And a couple of times I've done it from home, mostly on Sunday morning, running a pileup. And it's a lot of fun. And I certainly end up getting a lot of QSL requests afterwards because they want Nebraska. But when we did it with the club in Omaha, one time we were in a kind of like a shack outside and wasn't very warm, of course, in Nebraska in the winter. Sometimes they're at an EOC with the Salvation Army. And like I said, I do it from home.
All right. Well, Ken, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I think that you and the committee have taken Winter Field Day and really grown with it. And I've seen some great, actually Amateur Logic even had a whole thing about how they're all going out and doing Winter Field Day as well. So it's really expanding and getting to a lot of people to have fun with this. So thanks for bringing it to the show tonight. And we appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Josh and Amanda. And for those listening, if they have a chance, if they do Facebook, look us up on Facebook under Winter Field Day. There's lots there, lots of people constantly commenting there, especially as we get closer to Winter Field Day and after. Everybody's posting pictures of what they did. So it's a lot of fun just watching what comes on after it's over.
Absolutely. That is fun to see everybody's setups, and it teaches you something new too. And it teaches you, I didn't realize I could put an antenna up like that. So have fun with it, everybody, and good luck.
All right. Thanks again.
All right, Josh, I think we have another. Now we're going to go to
Yeah.
Where it's not freezing. We're not going to freeze our butt off at this place.
We're a little
Let's
geographic
put it that
change.
way.
Remind
Yes.
everybody, if you're going to do Winter Field Day, listen to what Ken said and capitalize on those multipliers. That's the game.
Yeah.
If you want to get with QRP outdoors, work those multipliers. That's the angle. But yeah, I was able to sit down a little earlier this week and have a little chat with Michael. So let's run that now. Got to go change my shirt first, though, so I'll be right back. All right, so I'm here with Michael Cauley, new call sign W4ORL. How you doing, Michael?
I'm good today. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing very well. So Hamcation, it's back. We're going. I'll be there. Tell people what they need to know if they are interested in going to Orlando for Hamcation this year.
It's going to happen. There've been some rumors going around that we might be canceling.
Okay.
We are not canceling. 100%. The show will happen.
Okay.
So that's the good news. But at this point, everybody's concerned with COVID. We will follow any local mandates or state mandates that we do have. Currently, there is none. There's no mask mandates, no vaccine mandates, anything like that. But we will have posted on all the entrances that masks are not required, but strongly recommended inside the buildings.
Okay.
So we'll cover that. We will have masks available at all the entrances. So if you don't have one and you would like one, we will have them available.
Great.
We will have hand sanitizing stations available throughout the show also. So we're trying to cover all that. The show is February 11th through the 13th.
Okay. And that's
it is
Friday through Sunday, right? That's how that works out?
Correct. It's a 3-day show, Friday through Sunday. And it is the ARL National Convention this year.
Okay.
So on actually February 10th, ARL will be doing a series of training tracks off-site. There will be 4 training tracks. I do know one of them is going to be DX Engineering with Tim Duffy's going to be doing Contest University.
Oh, that's great.
There's one for MCOM, the ARL will be doing. There is one for the ARL Handbook. And then there's one for technology, which must cover several different technologies used in amateur radio today.
Okay.
So more info on that is at arl.org/expo. You can go up there and sign up for it. And all the info is through them on that.
And the link will be in the description. So yeah, what's available? So let's say people watching this, they've never heard of Hamcation before. How big is the show? What are some of the things you guys do every year?
All right. Hamcation is actually the second largest hamfest in the world, just behind Dayton. In 2020, our last in-person hamfest, we had a little under 25,000 in attendance over the 3 days. We are in a fairground setting with 85 acres of area. We have 3 buildings for exhibitors. 2 of them is for commercial vendors, and 1 of them is for swap vendors, which is more like your inside tailgate area. We have a large tailgate area with usually over 250 to 300 tailgaters, depending on the weather, of course, of the weekend. One nice thing about our fairgrounds, we are probably the largest hamfest capable of having over 200 RVs on site with full water and power hookups, so you can actually stay at the show.
How much is it for somebody to stay like that if they want to come down, bring their camper, bring the family kind of thing?
For the RV, we have 2 different options. So we have a 30 amp hookup or a 50 amp hookup, depending on what type of RV you have. The 30 amp hookup is $45 a night, and the 50 amp is $55 a night.
Okay, so that's pretty reasonable pricing. So yeah, very good. And tickets are what, $20? I think is the ticket price.
Correct, and the $20 for the ticket. It is good for all 3 days.
Excellent. And again, links will be in the description for all this. So anybody that's interested, again, I'll be there. I'm staying, flying in on Wednesday, flying out Sunday. So I'll be there for a decent chunk of the whole event, because there are some special things going on Thursday as well, as far as then the main track of the events you have going on Friday through Sunday. So what's new and different kind of going on with Hamcation this year?
couple of the new things this year. One, ICOM is actually sponsoring picnic tables and umbrellas. So they're going to be set up out in the food area, so people have more areas to sit, eat their food out of the sun. The other new thing this year, on Thursday night at 6 p.m. in our swaps building, Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, will be doing a kit build.
All right.
So more info will be put on our website probably this coming week once we just get everything verified of what type of kit he's going to be doing. But that will be open for people to attend. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Wednesday, not Thursday. I had the date wrong. Yeah. Wednesday, February 9th. So I think I said the right date, but the wrong day.
Okay, so Wednesday is the kit build.
Correct.
Got it.
Wednesday is the kit build.
Okay.
February 9th at 6 p.m. The other new thing this year, we are partnering with hamstudy.org.
Mm-hmm.
So our actual VE testing will be all digital, no paperwork. So you will come in. First, you'll register on hamcation.com. Just go under testing. You'll come in. You'll just be handed a tablet. You'll punch in a pin. You'll sit down. You'll take your test. Once you're done with the test, it will be graded right then. You don't have to wait. Once you submit it, it will tell you if you passed or failed. If you do pass, you can go ahead and take your next one in line if you want to upgrade. And then at that point, they just email you your CSE. So there's no paperwork involved. So hopefully this will help us do the turnover of more people testing quicker.
Really fast license turnaround that way, since it's all digital, right? You just go straight into the database and pretty much gets approved by the FCC, and they get notified. Particularly if they're new hams, that's great because the call sign comes really quick.
Correct. I do know we did do this actually at our OARC meeting to test it, and our testing started at 5:30. Everybody was done by around 7. Funny thing is, by 8 o'clock, everybody had their license, their call signs.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really good.
So, yeah. So apparently we got it in before FCC cut off the deadline for that day, and everybody got processed that same day, which was amazing.
That's fast. That's really fast. So most hamventions or hamcation in this case, ham shows. What am I thinking of? Hamfest. That's what I'm thinking of. There's always a really good forum and classes and sessions you can go to. I'm on the website right now, and boy, there's a lot of them. So you've got a lot of really interesting shows this year. What you want to talk about? Any of them that maybe are new or something that really jumps out to you as kind of being a cool thing?
We have several good ones this year. Of course, I think there's right around 40 forums between Friday and Saturday combined. Tim Duffy is doing a good one on grounding and bonding, which is always good for new hams and even hams that want to refresh, make sure that they have their stations grounded and bonded properly. Of course, Carol Perry is doing her youth forum.
Oh, great.
So another good one that's going to be huge this year is going to be the ARL membership forum. And what makes this one nice this year, the president and the CEO of ARL will be the ones doing the forum. So Rick Roderick and Dave Minster will be there and be able to answer any questions you have from ARL during that forum.
Oh, that's great. That should be a lot of fun.
That's a good one. The other good one that's going to be is Neil Rapp from Yoda. We'll be talking about Yoda for 2022. Also, Tapper will be doing, I believe it's 5 forums on Friday back to back. So they're doing about 6 hours of full forums on different subjects, which is really good this year.
Excellent. There is a lot of good reasons to come out to Hamcation this year. It is also, of course, you've got to have the swap meet, and your swap meet is both indoors and outdoors, right? So you expect a lot of people coming with their stuff and their tables, right?
Correct. As of right now, our sales have been unbelievable. Pre-sales, we've already bypassed our 2020 pre-sales.
Oh, wow.
For tickets, for swap tables, for tailgate. Right now, currently, we have over 200 RVs already pre-registered.
Wow. What's the limit again on RVs? How many spaces do you have for RVs?
I think it was around 250.
Okay.
But you might not be really close in. You might be further out, but you'll still be on property.
Okay. Do the prices
Yeah.
go up at some point for the tickets as you get closer to the event or the day of? Do the prices go up? So if you were encouraging someone to get their tickets now?
Actually, prices already went up. The
Okay.
deadline was December 1st.
Okay.
So all the current prices is what you will pay at the gate also.
Okay. All right. Very good. Anything else you want to hit that we might have forgot or I forgot to ask, Michael?
Only other thing I would say is on the front page of the website, if you scroll all the way down at the bottom, there's a spot that you can sign up for our Hamcation newsletter. That newsletter, we usually send out stuff when there's updates about Hamcation, anything like that will be on there. So it's a good spot to sign up and stay informed about news coming out. Any of our press releases we send out through that also, of anything that's going on with Hamcation, any COVID updates, anything like that. Our final decision will be toward the end of the month of any type of new COVID stuff that we have to do. So all that information will be there. So that's a good place to sign up. Also follow us on social media. It's at Hamcation on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Very good. And I realized I had another question as I was going over the website. I'm going to have to pull the website up for this because there's no way I'm going to prompt you to go through the entire list of what are the prizes, because you've got a door prize and a raffle, right, this year?
No, they're all door prizes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of them up there already as we're getting stuff in. There's actually a lot of stuff that's been mailed in that I haven't got up yet. So our early bird prize, of course, I have up there, which is the ICOM ID 51A or 5100.
Mm-hmm.
And the grand prizes, we're still working on a few with ICOM and Yaesu to get those. But there's a lot more prizes going up. We just haven't got them updated. But as we put them up, as we get them, we put them up. So everything will be there. We will have over 25,000 in door prizes once we get them all up there.
There you go. So there's another good reason to show up. And you do need to be in attendance to claim the prize, right? Is that generally how it works?
Any of our hourly prize drawings, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Our daily grand prize drawings, no, we will mail them to the winner.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, Michael, thanks for hopping on. We really do appreciate it. I'm excited. I've never been, so I'm really looking forward to coming out and meeting everybody and hanging out. So, yeah, thanks again for coming out.
Thank you, Josh, and thank Ham Nation and everybody else. Just stay updated with the website. We'll update any information there as it comes in.
All right.
I can't believe he didn't mention, I believe she's going. I can't believe he didn't mention our famous Valerie in V9L will be there. Joe, you're going.
Yes, I am.
What else are you going to be showing off there?
Well, I'm going to do the FM radio kit on Wednesday, and then on Saturday I'll be doing my kit building techniques for Success Talk.
Okay. Josh, you didn't mention if you were going or not.
And look for my mouse ears.
Yes, the mouse ears.
And I have my name and call on them.
I think that's adorable.
I will be going, and I believe that I will be hosting the ARRL handbook sessions. So I will be all day or part of the day on Thursday. I'll be talking to lots of folks. We'll be covering different sections within the handbook and having a lot of fun. So make sure you check that out.
I did not get confirmation from Gordo if he was going. You guys, is he going?
I don't know.
If so, I mean, I would have figured he would be a presenter, but another one up in the air. I'm not sure if Bob's going. This was going to be his debut Hamfest, but with Omicron coming out and stuff, I'm not sure that he decided to go. So
I'm guessing that neither are because, like you said, I didn't see them on any of the sessions. So I think you might be right on that. But if we're wrong, apologies. But, yeah.
That right?
Yeah.
Also, if they don't go, don't be disappointed. You will still have a great time there. So it sounds like it's going to be a blast.
Indeed.
Yes. All right. Where do we go from here? Are we going to ICOM?
Time. I think so.
Okay. A word from our sponsor.
Didn't get everything you wanted on your holiday wish list? Now is the time to spice up your ham shack with ICOM's new, now shipping, ID52A handheld. This radio is perfect for staying in or venturing out and working your favorite bands this holiday season. ICOM's newest handheld amateur radio is a VHF-UHF dual bander with D-Star and FM dual mode functions. The ID52A is now shipping. This radio supports conventional FM communications and D-Star simplex, repeater, regional, and worldwide calls over the D-Star Internet Gateway. The ID52A is the first handheld amateur radio with a full-color 2.3-inch waterfall display and the ability to send photos over D-Star with a connected Android device. Other features include wideband receiver with guaranteed range of 144 to 148 and 440 to 450 megahertz, simultaneous receive for VHF, UHF, VHF with dual DV mode, integrated GPS GLONASS receiver including grid square location, micro SD card slot, micro USB for data transfer, programming, and charge, and it meets IPX7 waterproof specifications. For more information on this and all the great ICOM radios, visit icomamerica.com/amateur. Happy New Year from ICOM.
All right. Thank you so much to ICOM for sponsoring Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. We really do appreciate it. It's something they do every time we are live. They do a swag giveaway. And to enter, you take the link in the description. It'll take you to a website like this. They usually give away a radio. This week is the 2730A. There are 2 chances basically to enter and win. They pick 3 winners every time we are live for Ham Nation, and those 3 winners go into, I guess, a hat, and they pick one, and that person wins the radio. So this month's grand prize, 2730A, goes to Daryl W., KO4SNY, and the 3 swag pack giveaways goes to Jesse K, W9JES, James W, KK4EWT, and Daryl W, KO4SNY. So thanks again to ICOM. We really appreciate it. Now, it is my honor, since Don is not here, he has got some family things going on, I get to introduce Amateur Radio Newsline for this show. So it's my privilege. I'll take it. Let's run Amateur Radio Newsline. Thanks so much.
From Amateur Radio Newsline, report number 2307. This is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. First this week, the COVID pandemic claims another major amateur radio convention.
Responding to concern over the unprecedented upsurge in COVID-19 cases, organizers of the International DX Convention in Visalia, California, have called off the annual event, which is considered one of the premier amateur radio DX conventions. It was to have been held beginning April 8th, hosted by the Southern California DX Club and the Northern California DX Club. The announcement was made by co-chairs Bill Kendrick, N6RV, and Mel Hughes, K6SY. For details, visit dxconvention.org.
Newsline anchor Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Anyone watching the progress of the James Webb Space Telescope now has a whole lot more to see, and so does the telescope itself.
Having unfolded the reflector that is central to its operation as history's largest orbital observatory, the James Webb Space Telescope now waits to unfold the secrets of the universe. The $10 billion telescope will use its 21-foot gold-coated reflector to explore the cosmos, most especially tracing the first stars to form in the first 100 million years following the creation of the universe. NASA heralded it as a major milestone. Saturday's process completed the unfolding, which was done in stages on January 7th and 8th. You can see an animation of what occurred in space on YouTube. A link to that video appears in this week's text version of the Newsline script. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
It's January, and that means, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, Winter Field Day.
Get ready for Winter Field Day 2022, which is happening worldwide on January 29th and 30th. As the organizers state on their website, being ready for emergency communications isn't just an exercise done when the sun is shining and the weather is mild. In the northern hemisphere, where temperatures can easily drop below freezing this time of year and snow and ice can complicate the scenario, hams are preparing to operate using a variety of permissible modes, with CW, SSB, DMR, PSK among them. Winter field day rules prohibit operation on FT8 or FT4. However, QRP and low are the only power category choices this year, with operators using 100 watts or less. For a look at the rules and the logging instructions, visit winterfieldday.com. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Andy Morrison, K9AWM.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, Andy Morrison, K9AWM, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wellbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.
With 7 active regions on the Earth-facing disk and more about to rotate into view, a solar storm that's ongoing at Earth, and one more on the way, our sun is getting busy. Those stories and more in the news this week. Space weather this week is picking up, and it's on the lively side. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, you can see 2 bands of active regions, one in the north and one in the south, and that tells you solar cycle 25 is well underway. In fact, back on the 14th, whammo, did you see that? That was region 2925, and it launched a partially Earth-directed solar storm off to our west. Too bad, though, it was westward of this big coronal hole, which has also been sending us some fast solar wind, and that wind has likely deflected that solar storm off further to the west so that it's missed Earth entirely. But you know what? No matter, the fast wind from this coronal hole has actually bumped us up to storm levels. In fact, for a few hours, it bumped us up to G2 level solar storm conditions, and that gave us some beautiful aurora for a very short bit, even in some places down at mid-latitudes. Meanwhile, as these regions continue to rotate, you can look, whammo, on the 16th, we got region 2929 firing off yet another solar storm that's partially Earth-directed. This one, however, is on the east side of that coronal hole, and likely that fast solar wind now could actually deflect this one into Earth. So we could be having yet another solar storm that's Earth-directed, but we're waiting for coronagraphs to give us a confirmation. Meanwhile, on top of all of that, we actually have even more regions that are going to be rotating into Earth view here in the next couple days. We have region 2932, and that was firing off some big solar storms on the sun's far side. And we have another region that's just about to rotate into view, and even one more in the south. And those, from Stereo's view, are also solar storm producers. So we could have some real fun here over the next week, and including the boosting of that solar flux up into triple digits. Amateur radio operators and emergency responders are also enjoying some good propagation. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, as you can see, the X-ray flux back around the 10th or so was still a bit on the quiet side, but as we began to move into about the 12th and even the 13th, you can see that X-ray flux begin to rise and a bit of flare activity. Well, that solar flux also rose right on with it. We are now back into the triple digits for solar flux, and this means good propagation on Earth's day side for amateur radio operators and emergency responders, and yet it will be a bit noisy on the bands because you can see we do have a bit of flare activity. On the 14th, we did have an M-class flare with a short radio blackout for a little bit. That was when we had that first of the 2 solar storms that I showed you being launched. Since then, though, it's only been C-class flares. However, we do still have about a 20% chance of M flares, so this is going to last easily over the next few days, and we have more regions rotating into Earth view, so expect these conditions to continue easily over this next week. So what else does our sun have in store for us this week? Well, this is Stereo A. It's our partially far-sighted monitor. You can see here's Earth, here's the sun, and here's Stereo A staring at the sun just a little bit from the side. And as we take a look at Stereo A's view, especially if we focus on the east limb, you can see we've got a lot of new active regions that are pretty busy on the east limb. In fact, region 2932 that's just now rotated into Earth view, this region was a big solar storm producer on the sun's far side. Right now it looks though that it's kind of quieting down a little bit. We'll see if it picks up again. But the region just behind it in the north, that region also looks like it could be a solar storm producer. And yet we have another region, that's old region 2916 in the south. And that region also looks like it could be a solar storm producer. So your aurora photographers, if you haven't been able to get any aurora shots with this recent solar storm, don't worry. It looks like you're going to get more chances here either this week or possibly into next week. And amateur radio operators, well, good news for you as well. The solar flux should stay in the triple digits easily over this next week and possibly over next week. And that means good radio propagation on Earth's day side. Switching to our solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, believe it or not, with all these active regions on the Earth-facing disk, not everything is in the green. We actually do have some M-flare players on the Earth-facing disk. NOAA's giving us about a 20% chance of an M-class flare over the next couple days, with the main player being region 2929. We also have a little bit of a M-flare risk from region 2930, but those two regions are going to be rotating off on the sun's west limb here in the next few days, so that M-flare risk may begin to quiet down just a bit. However, we do have those new regions rotating into Earth view over the next couple days, and once we get a better look at them, that might increase that M-flare risk again. So welcome to solar cycle 25. It looks like big flares might actually be here to stay, and the nice thing is that we're going to be getting that solar flux back up into the triple digits and keeping it there possibly for the duration. Wouldn't it be nice if we don't drop back down to double digits? This means we will be having decent radio propagation on Earth's day side, despite the fact that we have a risk for radio blackouts. Now, GPS users, I know you're not really happy about the increased flux and the risk for radio blackouts, so just stay vigilant, especially near dawn and near dusk. So the space weather this week is definitely on the lively side. We do have a coronal hole that's rotating through the Earth strike zone now, and it's been sending us some fast solar wind, and that has bumped us to storm levels multiple times, and it could easily do so again over the next 24 to 48 hours. So aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, you could easily get some more shows. Now, if you're at mid latitudes, your aurora photographers, well, it may be a bit of a sporadic or a fleeting show, so only if you're dedicated should you chase. Now, amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, you know, we've got triple digits back when it comes to that solar flux, and it looks like it's going to continue to stay that way easily over this week and next week with the new regions that are rotating into Earth view. So radio propagation on Earth's day side should continue to stay in the good range, and as long as you can get through the issues with that solar storm that has been, you know, causing some havoc on the night side, well, just hang in there. Things will get better. Now, you GPS users, well, you know, I'm sure you don't like the fact that the solar flux is actually back in the triple digits. That does cause GPS reception down at low latitudes to be a bit dicey. And I'm sure you don't really like the fact that we've got a few M-flare players on the Earth-facing disk as well. So that means radio blackouts may be something you have to deal with. So as long as you stay away from the dawn dust terminators and away from aurora while this solar storm is raging, your GPS reception should be pretty decent. But also remember, stay away from those low latitude regions if you can, especially near dawn and near dusk. I'm Tabitha Scove, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
Well, thank you, Dr. T. And of course, everybody, please be sure to follow her on Twitter. She's very active there and very snarky, I would say. Now, Josh dropped the ball because, you know, he introduced as Dawn, and he did not do it correctly. So I wanted to just kind of make up for that. So if Dawn were here, he would definitely make some crass comments about coronal problems. I've been having those my whole life. Or
coronal hole problems.
Yes, coronal hole problems. Suffered a long time. Sorry, I am not Don, but at least I'm trying, because everyone needs to feel his personality here. And to further on that personality, I'm taking it away, Joe. I am. We're gonna talk about things that suck.
That's right. And yes, somebody commented about my desk. That's what it looks like. It'll get straightened up again a little bit, but
never.
It's always got things going on, and you can see the new map there on the upper right of your screen. That is called Ham Clock, and that's running on a Raspberry Pi. It's kind of the poor man's Geochron, and software is free. And so I dedicated a Raspberry Pi 4 to it, and it is running up there. And I really like it. It lets me keep track of the space station and other satellites as well as propagation. And it's a fun addition to the Ham Shack. Well, let's talk about things that suck. All right. What I do is I build a lot of kits, okay? And you can't say that I really don't make any mistakes. Now, can you see what's on the screen right now?
I can. You got that gray little box in the upper right-hand corner. If you just drag that box out of the way, you're good to go.
Oh, okay.
It's that thing floating in front of the pictures. It's probably your Skype window. Just move it
over.
That's
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the simplest and easiest way to desolder, and that is solder wick. Now, what solder wick is, and it comes in different sizes and thicknesses and lengths and so forth and widths. And the little tiny one down at the bottom is great to travel with. In fact, that's what I'll be bringing with me when I do the group kit build. But the way solder flux works is it is a copper braid that has flux on it. So what you do is you turn your soldering iron up all the way, and then you lay that wick over the connection that you're going to desolder, and then you put your soldering tip to that, and you can see after a couple of seconds, it will heat up the connection, and the solder will just magically kind of wick away onto the solder wick. Now, of course, once that solder wick is full of solder, you're going to cut off the end piece, the end of that little line, because obviously it can't absorb anymore, but it draws away heat. So you do use solder wick. Once it gets full of solder, you just snip off the end and keep going. But it is the most common way we desolder. It has advantages and disadvantages. If the holes are too small in the circuit board, it doesn't give it quite enough surface area to clear the holes very easily and let it wick it up. The other thing I run into is if the circuit board was made with unleaded solder, lead-free, the melting point is much higher. So the trick that I do, and it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but what I do is I add regular leaded solder to that same connection. So it might be kind of a bigger blob, but guess what? When you reheat it with the wick, the melting point is way down, and it's fresh solder and fresh flux, and so it draws it up the wick. And you can use regular leaded solder to resolder a leaded connection, and an unleaded connection, it works just fine. We'll go to the other extreme, and that is a desoldering station. Now, what this is that box on the right has a digital display. It sets the temperature. That's at the tip of the handpiece on the left. And that handpiece has a trigger on it. It has two lines that's going to it. One is the electrical line that handles the thermostatic control of the temperature on the tip. And the other is a vacuum hose. And where that hose connects to the box, there's a filter. And inside the handpiece, there's a spring and a filter that catch the solder as it gets drawn into the handpiece. Now, we'll take a look at the handpiece here a little bit. And it looks kind of like a little pistol there. And that clear plastic chamber at the top, that's where the solder accumulates. And of course, if you get too much in there, it's not going to work. So you got to clean these things out often. But the great thing about it is that tip on the end of the desoldering tool is hollow. So usually on a circuit board, you have the hole and you have the wire poking up through the hole and you got solder there. And so what I do is I put that tip right over that wire, and then as it melts it, I can push that tip down all the way to the circuit board, and then I pull the trigger and it sucks up the solder into the tool. And so it cleans the hole and removes the part and does not very much damage or none at all to a lot of parts if you do it right. So we'll take a look here, and here's a circuit board that I was working on in Pacificon. It was a CW transmitter kit we assembled. And this one, I kind of dripped a little solder where I didn't want to. And so I got solder that clogged the hole for X2, which is the second crystal. Well, since we weren't putting it in there, I didn't worry about it. When I brought it home, it didn't seem to want to come out with the solder wick. So I used this tool on it. In fact, I did this today. And you'll look and you'll see, wow, it not only cleaned it up, it did not leave any flux or any marks or anything. Nice and clean, and it works just fine. So if you're going to do a lot of kit building, you really, really want to invest in a good desoldering tool. And this desoldering station sells for about $145. They used to be $500, $600, and there's still many of them that are in the $200 to $600 range. But this one was $145 and had digital temperature control and everything. Kind of the poor man's version of the same thing. You can get this tool from ECG. It's available on several sites for about $25. And it's not temperature controlled, but it gets pretty darn hot. And what you do is you squeeze the bulb, and then you put the tip once again over the connection on the circuit board, and then you let go of the tip, and it sucks the solder up into that metal tube. And then usually it leaves it nice and clean. Well, the disadvantage of this is that if there's a lot of solder, sometimes that one little puff of air going back into it isn't quite enough to clear the connection. So you have to lift the iron away from the connection, squeeze the bulb again, clear the tip out, and I use an ashtray, like an old glass ashtray for that, to spray the solder out, and then do it again. But the key to any desoldering method is to use a lot of heat so you don't have the heat on it very long. I know that also sounds counterintuitive if you have heat-sensitive parts, but actually, if you use a higher heat but a much shorter period, it actually works better. So this can do almost the same thing for about $25. This next item here is a solder sucker, and all it is it's a plunger that's got a spring. And you push it down, and it cocks the spring, and that little black button in the middle, that releases the spring, and the plunger comes up, and it sucks the solder into the clear tube if it's got a clear body, or in this case, right into the white Teflon tip. And once again, you got to clear that out. So you just put it over an ashtray and you push it back down, and it will eject the solder into the ashtray. And one of these things, I think I saw them on one of the websites, like 3 of them for $10. So if you want to have an inexpensive desoldering tool, that works. And the way I use it is you either put the hot solder tip next to it and then draw the solder out with this, or if you want to clear the hole on a circuit board, you put the hot soldering iron on one side of the board and this device on the other, and then pull it right through. But they're very inexpensive, and they're also very effective. Now, the thing about these and solder wick is that you have to use 2 hands to do that, because you got to hold both things, while the desoldering station with the vacuum pump and trigger, that only uses 1 hand. So there's some advantages and disadvantages of each one. So let me see here, and we will switch back to the camera, and there we go. And so that's all I got tonight about things that suck.
Hear me out on this, Joe. One of our friends that reclaims like a lot of metal from boards, I'll tell you one thing. He reclaimed enough gold and silver from doing this kind of stuff that he actually bought a Prius with it.
Wow.
Yeah. He says, have you ever heard of this method? If you just want to melt like everything on a board and just take all the parts off, that you just put the whole board in a frying pan and kind of put it on low and let all the solder come out, and you just take all the components off, and there you have it.
Actually, there's another way to do that, and that is to put it in a toaster oven and heat it up to about 500 or so. And that works as well. And it's also, you have to realize, though, that if you're just trying to empty the board itself of parts, then you don't really care how long you expose the parts to heat. But if you're trying to remove a part, like let's say a diode that you really put in the wrong position and move it somewhere else or reverse it or something like that, obviously you're going to want to expose it to heat a lot less. So somebody mentioned that you reflow parts on it. I fix printers for a living, and there was a particular model of HP laser printer that would just suddenly flash a light, which was a main board error, or what we call the formatter. And HP wanted a fortune for it. They wanted more for the boards than the printers were worth. And then I found online, there was a hack, and that was to reflow the circuit board. And so I would take threaded standoffs like I use for mounting my kits, and I put 4 of those on the board, put it on the tray in the toaster oven, and heated it up till you could just see it start getting silvery. And then I shut off the toaster oven and opened the door and let the air into it. And after it cooled off, at least 80 to 90% of those boards came back and worked till the service life of the printers. So you can do lots of things with those.
That's amazing. How'd your wife feel about that?
And
make her a bagel.
He bought a special toaster after that first run.
Actually, I did that at work.
Oh, good.
And we had the toaster oven at work.
Oh, so everybody else has to deal with. Yeah, there you go. I guess you weren't losing the solder; you were just reflowing it. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Very good.
All right. I thank you, Joe. I didn't see it. Did you see any other questions, Josh, that I missed?
I think a lot of people were saying, that's what I do. I like the whip, or I like the plunger, or I like this, I like that. Or Joe, lots of great ideas,
yours.
Joe.
The spring, yours is the spring loaded?
I will often pull up what I can with wick, and then sometimes try and get a tactical precision suck to pull the remainder off. And then sometimes you got to go in with the flat screwdriver and just kind of pop one of the legs on some of the through holes on the backside just to remove the connection, and then you're usually good.
Well, now you're gonna be looking at those desoldering stations. It really makes a lot of sense.
I know Hako makes one, and now I've seen yours, and I know if you recommend it, it's a good one. So I'm gonna have to look them, check them up. So yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. As always, you whenever I have you on, I think everybody, the universal statement is you cost us a lot of money, Joe.
Yeah. You cost money, but you really actually saves us time and money.
There it is.
Exactly. And the methods I use are there so that you can preserve the parts, because a lot of times when you're desoldering, you might not have access to another part like that. And it might be that the part is not bad, but you just put it in the wrong spot on the board in a kit situation. And for everybody going to Orlando, look for me and my Mickey Mouse ears. And on the back of the mouse ears hat is my name and call.
That's awesome.
And that's
he's famous for his hats.
Joe's doing a kit build, so if you're going to be around on Wednesday evening, make sure you go look into getting involved in that. Did you mention what the kit is, Joe? Or is that a secret?
It's an FM stereo receiver.
Cool.
And it just runs with little earbuds, and I'm pretty sure we'll have enough earbuds so that everybody gets a set to take home with them.
Nice.
Very good. So you can listen on the airplane ride home. If you can
I've
get
done
FM.
that.
Yeah, why not?
I've done that.
So, Amanda, I think we got to make a shout out here, right?
We do. One of the reasons Don wasn't available tonight, actually, I think he made this as an excuse, but he claims that his computer hard drive took a dump.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, he's
most likely like him. But no, I'm kidding, Don. I love you. But he was really looking forward to celebrating Tyler's birthday, 22. If you can believe that. It is 22, right? Anyhow, I just wanted to show Tyler. Look at that. There's a baby. Mom and Dad so happy. Don and Don adopted Tyler just as a little infant, and he's grown into such a wonderful man. So look at that guy.
Strapping young man there.
Yes. ROTC, now working on computers, just doing an amazing job and making his parents prouder than they could ever imagine being. So happy birthday, Tyler. In 7 TWM, he does have a call sign. And in fact, I made him vinyl letters to put on his truck. And Dad's really, really proud of you. So are we, because we're all family. So happy birthday, Tyler.
Happy birthday. Amanda, do we have any nets to mention?
We do. We have some nets. Unfortunately, another thing, Kevin and his wife are having an anniversary tonight. So happy anniversary, Kevin. So he's not going to be hosting the 40-meter net, but we should see Steve around 3825 is where he likes to hang out. And also we have D-Star on 14 Charlie and DMR on 31012. So I encourage everyone to check into those nets and tell them all that they're doing an awesome job and that how much you love us. So, and we got Discord.
Yes, links are in the description for the Facebook group for Ham Radio Crash Course and our Discord. I apologize, I won't be in there tonight because I didn't eat dinner and I got to go sort some stuff out with the wife. I got to get all my, I got to put all that credit in the relationship bank because I'm going to take a withdrawal when I go to Orlando, right? That's how it works. So you gotta work on that aspect of it too.
How long are you going to Orlando for?
I'm flying in on Wednesday and then I'm flying out on Sunday. So it will be there for a while, and I know that just all the planned Hamfest stuff is going to be great, but there's going to be a ton of, we're calling them YouTuber events. It's just going to be an excuse for us to get together and hang out. I know many of them will have campers. Yeah. There'll be a ton of people that have campers at the camping spot. And then I think some of us may be doing some other stuff off the main area. But we'll keep everybody posted. Follow us, obviously, on the YouTubes and Instagrams, Twitters, and Facebooks and all that. But make sure you join us on the Discord because we will be talking about all that stuff as we go along. And I'm planning on doing my walkthrough. I'll have my little Steadicam doing a walkthrough of the Hamfest as much of it as I can live. So if you have questions, I'll be doing live interviews and talking to the people there and taking your questions live. And definitely, I will be on the lookout for hot deals at the flea market.
Oh, anything in particular?
Well, this I've decided I've really lined myself up and given myself a challenge to get POTA capable in Morse code only, CW. So I'm aiming to try and do that the end of next month or the end of March. So a lot of my channel is going to be focused on Morse code content. We had the Long Island CW Club out last week. Highly recommended. Make sure you guys go check them out if you're interested.
They got some great lessons, and even just for the ladies. So do it.
And kids. They've got a free class for kids, all kinds of stuff. Great stuff. Wonderful place to learn. But I've been pulling out all my gear. I've been practicing and making some contacts, a couple contacts, not great contacts, but I'm doing it. But I'm on the lookout for Morse code only radios. And you see some of my favorites right here that we'll be talking about on Saturday. We'll be talking a little bit about my favorite Morse code only, CW only radios this Saturday. But those are the ones that I like to look for. I like small things that I find at flea markets so that I can put them in my bag and fly home with them. That's usually my benchmark.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and Joe, you're almost on like a publicity tour. Where are you headed this next month?
Well, it's going to be pretty busy. Actually, tomorrow I head towards Kansas City and then St. Louis. And so I will be there at St. Louis to speak at Winterfest, which is also the ARL Midwest Division Convention. And then in February, I will be headed to Orlando, of course. And the weekend after that, I will be in Yuma. I will be presenting at the Yuma Ham Fest, which has about half the people from Quartz Fest show up to Yuma. And it's a very popular ham fest. And ask anybody who's been there about the Buzzards Barbecue, which is at the end. And of course, Gordo will be there. He usually goes. And we have several of us that are in the Order of Crazies, the IOOK, International Order of Crazies. There'll be a group of us there too. And it's a fun time. I've been there when the temperature was like in the 60s, and I've been there when it's been in the upper 80s. Normal is lower 80s, actually, that time of year. And so the Yuma Ham Fest is the 18th and 19th of February. And so, like I said, it's the weekend after the Hamcation, and then I get to be home for about 6 days, and then doing a family trip back to Orlando and then to Cape Coral to see my brothers. So I'll be in Florida twice in February.
Wow, you're going to be
in Arizona
a busy guy.
once. So I'll be pretty busy. And I got to put in a plug. We are going to have OzarkCon this year, which will include a group kit build. And I'll talk about the kit that we're going to build there in my next appearance on here. And that is in April. That is the second weekend in April. It is the, I think it's the 8th and 9th. And it starts on Friday. And that is in Branson, Missouri. And so there's lots of stuff to do in the evening after things are done. There's lots of shows to go to. And Branson is quite the place.
I've heard such. And I just want to mention one other thing. I know we mentioned Gordo's in Quartz Fest, but Randy's also there. And he's been putting his trip on Twitter. So that's been kind of fun to follow along.
He did mention, and I should have mentioned earlier, he said he was watching from his camper, so I hope he's still
was he?
still
Okay,
enjoying the
hi,
show.
Randy.
Hi, Randy.
Thanks for watching. Have fun. Stay away from the troublemakers out there. I don't know if Jerry and Amy are going to be there, but watch out.
It's definitely the season for Hamfest. It's starting to
really
come back
is.
out, I think. Everybody's coming back out of hibernation, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Well, hey, everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Get on those nets, support our net controls. We can't do this without them. So join us again February 2nd. That's going to be our next show where we should have the whole gang back. So.
Getting everybody back together. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So make sure you subscribe and click thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this show. We really do appreciate it. Till we talk to you again, 73. Thank you.
73.